Today on Drawbli, we are drawing
portraits.
You can join us by sharing your art online using the hashtag Drawbli and click the subscribe button to be notified of future videos.
I always get so nervous for my line. My big line.
Your big time
it's
to
like
shine.
it was like when I was in musicals when I was young, and
your one line.
When you start out in musicals, you get maybe one line.
You only got one shot.
And it was maybe 2 words. But you would call out your fiddler on the roof, 2 words in the graveyard scene with big aplomb. I think mine was, "Who's that?" or something.
Who's that? For what? Fiddler on the Roof?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's really a pretty musical. I like it a lot.
Yeah?
It's about this poor village. I think it's set right before World War II, maybe? And it's all about tradition. And his father raising his daughters, and the daughters sequentially break more and more from tradition, each one in sequence. And the first one, all she wants to do is marry like a tailor, and that's no good. Oh my gosh. But they get over it. She marries him. They're all like, okay, oh my gosh, that was a lot. And then the next one marries, what does she want to marry? A teacher, maybe?
Not a teacher.
Yes, a teacher, and a kind of a radical teacher at that. But he's still like within the family's like religious constraints, and so they're all like, oh, it was a horrible thing, and he felt very betrayed by his daughter, and he's like, this could not get any worse. And then his third daughter marries a somebody basically from, I think, the other side of the war, like somebody who was not in their religion at all. He basically throws her out. And she's going to go live in Siberia or something with him. Or was it the teacher? It's been a long time.
Well, hey, that was a really good Fiddler on the Roof cast. But we are drawing today, Abby. And we are drawing portraits.
We are drawing portraits. I have selected this one portrait that I found by one Maria Yarkimova. I'm probably not pronouncing her name, but she's a photographer I found on Pinterest, which credited her surprisingly appropriately.
Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're just like, we got a little bit of a head start here, and we're just kind of, just to kind of plan out what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're probably going to work on these for potentially the next few episodes, or next couple episodes, I should say. So yeah, we're just trying to get in and play around with some shapes. I'm just kind of going really rough here, trying to keep it a little more painterly right now, just kind of getting some blocked in shapes, and then I'll start working on proportions.
Yeah, what I'm doing here was meant to be just basically thumbnailing, but I'm kind of just rolling with it, actually.
Just kind of rolling with it.
Sketch, I guess it's my go-to sketch, because, we're just going to launch in and see how things go. I am not confident in my abilities to portray this girl in the picture accurately, like get her features down proportionally. But to me, it's not so much about that as it is just getting in here, practicing making a face. We don't do a lot of faces on this show because they are kind of a big process.
Very time-consuming process.
Time-consuming and less forgiving, like they're very noticeable if they are off by a lot, so.
Or even by a little.
And we like to be very forgiving of ourselves as venturing out artists, as it were, We like to choose subject matter that has a lot of forgiveness to it. So, this is a little bit, not outside the wheelhouse, but perhaps outside the comfort zone, as it were.
Doing something more challenging, which is why we're probably going to take a few episodes on these. We talked about in one of our recent episodes about how we'd like to maybe spend a little more time on something. A lot of what we've been doing is focusing on quantity, just to kind of get that hour count up, and now we're going to take some of what we've learned and maybe try to start to apply some of that. But yeah, I mean, I don't expect it to go amazing. We've done faces before. I mean, it's just, it's time consuming. It takes a long time to work on a face.
It is.
Especially for us who don't have a huge background in, drawing or painting.
And it's not something I've ever so much tried to push into a refinement stage. I feel like this eye is just maybe...
Come on,
get
your eye right.
I'll have to remember to do a lot of horizontal flipping.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because that's always my downfall when I try to do a face, is that horizontal flip, and then the horrifying horizontal flip.
So you were in the middle of saying something, but I think you got sidetracked.
Probably.
Oh, okay. Well, I am doing, I don't know the name of the woman in this photo on the left or who took the photo, because it was from Pinterest, and Pinterest is notorious for being horrible at crediting artists. So if anybody knows either of those, that would be fantastic. The one over here on the right is from the artist Sam. I think I can't remember his last name, but Sam Does Art is his handle, if you guys want to check out some of his art. But he's kind of a style reference that I'm going to try to play with. But first, just trying to get something on the canvas before I really start thinking about that too much. That'll be for later.
Yeah. So where are you starting? So I'm kind of starting with just a sketch. Just a basic line, your bread and butter line work sketch. I know some of our stuff we jump in with color. Sometimes that's the choice, that's the go-to. Looks like you're blocking in color and values off the get-go.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get in quick. Start with big stuff, start with big shapes, and I'll go from there. Yeah, I don't really have like an idea in mind other than try to stay simple first. Try to really focus on simplicity. But that's the general idea, so I'm going off of the photo reference, obviously first. But then I'm probably going to start leaning into the style of that illustration in the top left here pretty soon. Because you want to start leaning in that direction probably pretty early, just from what I know about sculpting, just so you can get the proportions and general feel down pretty quick.
Of the style you're referencing, so lean into the style you want quickly. Interesting. That's actually a good piece of advice, because I think there's a lot of people out there who are really eager to learn a specific kind of style of artwork, but aren't sure how to start converting reference images into an alternative style.
Yeah, I mean, if you try to match something that's realistic against something that's not, you're gonna have probably a pretty hard time. You wanna start heading in that direction pretty early. Like, for instance, humans don't normally have quite such a pointy chin like what we have over here with this gal. I was trying to draw an arrow on top of the image, but I can't because my layer's below it. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to start giving her more of a sharp or pointy chin and start rounding out some of that shape for the face. Gotta get there at some point, right?
Right. I mean, we're giving ourselves time on this, so no sense rushing ahead.
Oh no, I'm gonna rush.
You're gonna rush?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a race, remember?
Oh yeah.
It's always a race.
Who's gonna win?
Well, I mean, obviously me, but
oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, you'll be there. You'll watch. You can watch me win.
I'll watch from the peanut gallery.
I like your face already. You're doing such a good job.
Thank you.
You're gonna knock this out of the park.
Oh, I don't know about that. But now you got me thinking about what you said about style and jumping to the style you want quickly. Not that I had any intentions of trying to do this piece stylistically. I feel like I stand perhaps currently a little more to gain from sticking to some rough semblance of realism.
Ooh. And why is that?
Well, I don't think you might totally agree with this sentiment, but I feel that to start to create more stylized images accurately, it will help if I come from a place of knowledge about realism to some extent.
Did you really even have an opinion there?
I did.
You said it so softly. I couldn't even
well,
tell.
I've heard you say in the past, and I don't disagree actually, that if you want to create stylized work, you don't necessarily need to dive in and really learn the bones of anatomy and all that stuff. learn just to draw in the style you want to draw in.
That's right, yeah.
As inaccurate to life as it may be. And I think the further you go from accurate to life, the more that becomes true. The less you need to really probably worry too much about true anatomy.
But it will be helpful, right? It will be helpful to know some anatomical form, what's going on under the surface, but it's not a necessity, right?
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
So,
let's see.
Are you trying to, put your own style in there? Most likely, you can't help it.
I feel like that's going to be something that happens inevitably, and it'll be something I call my quote-unquote style, when really it's just the limitations of my artistic prowess.
Yeah, that is a very common saying. Oh, that's just my style. Yeah, there's like tons of memes about it.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's my art style.
I think I've talked about the one wolf where it's like just drawn.
That's exactly what I thought of right away.
Yeah, it's just drawn from the side view, but the face is on straight. Great image. Great JPEG.
Really fabulous.
So what are you working on right now? I'm working on just kind of outlining, just kind of planning out, figuring out where things are going to go.
The proportions of the mouth, trying to have that at a point that I think is safe to progress on with.
Safe.
One big thing I've definitely learned from drawing together is like I knew like on paper how important form, your base forms are.
On paper, yeah?
Yes, but until you've lived that experience several times, where you've gotten to the point where you're adding your tertiary details and you start to realize the whole thing looks a bit mushy, and you wish now that you weren't so far ahead and could go back and easily change some of the proportions. I've learned through that kind of lived experience now.
I see.
Even knowing it on paper, but especially living it.
Well, that's how you actually learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you gotta fail a million times before you can even get close to succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how she do.
How's it going on your end?
You're making some quick progress on me. I'm gonna have to catch up. But it is going.
Go at your own pace. Don't worry about me. I won't worry about you.
No, I'm worried. It's a race, remember?
Oh, that's right.
I'm gonna start stealing some colors
Mm-hmm.
from my reference. Start outlining or overlaying some different stuff here.
Yeah, at some point I'm just going to have to decide that no matter how much this doesn't really look like the girl in the reference, I'm just going to have to plug on forward. Well, let's see if I can clean up my sketch with her eyes.
Yeah, stylization not only applies to, the shapes that you're using, but also the colors. So for example, this uses some very saturated colors compared to what you might find on, a normal skin tone or under normal lighting circumstances. So that's what I gotta work with right now, kind of fixing up some colors. So I just kind of sampled some colors originally from the image on my left, the realistic one, but those colors are not gonna work. They're not gonna cut it. So now I'm going back through, trying to fix some of this. I could probably use a cool layer effect, like what would maybe color? Just the color one. I forget. I think it's just called color. Nah, I'll just keep it on normal. Not gonna mess with any of that.
I see what you're saying about color influencing style. This photo I'm working off of is definitely, you can tell, inspired by movies. The photographer whose photo this is said that she is heavily influenced by movie scenes. She uses them to guide her ideas for composition. And a lot of modern movies now come out with the blue and orange tones everywhere.
Yeah, that's what's his name? Zack Schneider?
Oh, I thought that was everybody, but you could be right.
Is it who's Zack's vision?
That's DC. Oh yeah, that's Zack Schneider.
Schneider, yes.
Good old Zack and his visions.
Yes, we love to poke fun at Zack and his DC vision.
His great,
or his movie visions in general.
We can always tell when a movie's getting to a certain spot, and we're like, wait, who directed this? Oh, it was Zack Snyder.
But he always puts that blue tone on all of his movies. Everything's very blue.
Blue and orange.
Blue and
Yeah,
orange.
but I do suspect that
orange.
might not be singular to him.
No?
No, I feel like it might be a trend amongst other directors and editors as well.
Could very well be.
Including this Miss Maria Yarkimova,
Yarkamarova.
whose name I probably can't say correctly.
Nope.
I suspect it is Russian.
I'm not even going to try.
Whatever accent I just did was not Russian.
That's why I said Yarkamava. That's all
Was
I
that
got.
Swedish?
Yeah, exactly. I have no
Ciao.
idea. No one knows. Nobody knows
My
actually.
proportions are not exactly coming together. Ooh, the mouth. I'm not a fan of the mouth that I have created here. I feel like it's too big.
What do you? Yeah, you feel like it's too big, huh? Might be. But luckily we have multiple sessions to kind of work with here.
Exactly.
Ooh, that's a
so I'm really not
green.
like pushing myself
do that.
too much.
No?
I mean, I don't want to say, I'm just not hurrying. Usually I have a sense of urgency in the sense of like, oh, I gotta, get this to such and such a point so that by the time we're done, I have a decent finished product to look back on.
That's fair.
But in this particular case, we don't quite have that same thought behind us, so...
Yeah, we can take some time, figure it out. I'm just kind of playing with blending some colors over here for a second. See if I can find a hair color that I like. Because the sampled color from there is like very, very green, very blue. And it's not really giving me something that's workable.
Nothing to work with, huh?
And no, it needs to be warmer. She clearly has like golden hair, but just because something looks like it's blonde or golden doesn't mean that the actual color truly is. Just you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. The way the
when you
colors can be placed next to each other and end up looking really different.
Yep, precisely.
Yeah, exactly.
That idea there.
Yeah.
So, figuring out some colors. I know mine's like very jank, but I'll get there with time. I just need to get some stuff down first in terms of making sure I got some good colors picked out. And
right, the color. So don't even get me started on
make
that.
sure my values are going to be correct here.
Oh man, painting is so hard.
Oh my gosh, calm down.
Oh, the values. And
the
values,
the colors.
The lines. Oh man.
There's so many layers.
I wonder if I should.
The layers, Abby. We didn't even consider the layers.
Masks. The effects.
The FX.
The FX.
Yeah.
FX Studio.
What?
Isn't that a old? Never mind.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who does?
Not
Let's
you.
see. Clearly not. All right.
I think your face looks awesome.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
I think I'm going to take a note from your book and just remove a bunch of my body and really get in on that face.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to try to create the hand. I will try to create the candle. I think that'd be fun to do.
Yeah? You just drew a candle the other day?
Yeah, I just watched a tutorial on painting candles, so I feel like I should give it a try. That's actually what motivated me to try to find a picture for this one of somebody holding a candle. I thought, oh, how hard can that be? And, that's where I always start.
That's where I always start with, how hard could that be? And then moments later, seconds later, I say, that's how hard.
That's how hard it can be. I see.
Everything makes sense now.
Yes.
I'm an idiot. Again, how does this always happen?
Every single time.
Yeah, that's how I feel a lot with drawing, but I still have fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the one constant beacon and standard is I am always enjoying it. I can enjoy it a little stressfully, where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really hard. But in the end, it's always a good time.
Yeah, I love just sitting here sketching around. Because we don't, at least I don't really have like a workflow that I always stick to. I don't know if you kind of, yeah, exactly. So like we don't really have like some major workflow that we always do. So it's kind of like a little bit playing around in the dirt until we start to get something that makes a little more sense, starts to work out for us. So for me, I have found a couple workflows that do work better than others, but at least from my experience in sculpting, I have found that it's better for me to just experiment and not really try to stick to one workflow. I feel like I learn faster that way, at least personally. Even to this day, when I do sculpt characters, I have a general workflow, but when I go to make an eye, I'll do it different almost every time. Like, it won't be exactly the same. And that's to keep me from stagnating personally. And I kind of do that because when I was learning in those early stages, not that I'm not learning anymore, but when I was more experimental, I found that to be extremely helpful toward my workflow and everything.
Trying all the new things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Just trying
I
to.
think there's so much to be gained.
Yeah, precisely. So now with drawing, I feel like because I have done this before, I have like some intuition about the way I need to go about certain things. So I'm like, oh, for this, I just need to experiment. I just need to see what is going to work here. And I don't need to like look up a tutorial and try to only do it that way.
Yeah, I definitely don't like the idea of like learning to do something one specific way and sticking with that forever. I do like to look up tutorials because, I understand that I stand a lot to gain by watching tutorials.
Yeah, that's how you're going to learn strategies and techniques that you would have never figured out by your own.
Exactly.
Or not never, but like it would have taken you a very, very long time. And it's like, do you really need to spend that much time?
There's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, like you're saying, like it's so important to try so many different ones and to not just watch tutorials, but like actually get in there and try things repeatedly. Because all the tutorials in the world won't help you if you're not making an attempt on your own here and there.
Absolutely. Speaking of attempts, what are you attempting to do for finishing touches?
Oh yes, finishing touches. She's all wrapped up now.
Yeah, I'm done as well. I'm completely finished.
Right now it's so different working on something when I know I'm gonna get to like return to it like in a moment.
Yeah.
So I mean, it gives a different idea to the word of finishing touches. But I'm just starting on her nose a little more. I'm zoomed in really close, which makes me a little nervous at this stage. I'm realizing quickly that that's a bad idea. Oh yeah, real bad idea.
Zooming in?
Yeah. Holy cow.
Why would you ever zoom in, Abby?
It's
never, ever zoom in. This is the first rule of art.
Yeah, literally. It's like they say, I remember hearing when I was younger, like, you should never, ever pluck your eyebrows in a magnified mirror.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and that's because apparently you can then pluck them too small pretty easily.
I mean, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And such, never do your base forms close up.
Ooh, yeah, I agree with that. Maybe not never, but
But for the most part,
it's I like to try to focus on big shapes, but everybody is gonna struggle with their own things. I definitely struggle with that. I think the big shapes are the hard part, and I think in terms of my finishing touches for this section at least, but I'm going to keep working on these big shapes and hopefully get them into a good solid place for me to continue into our next session, which I'm super excited about. I'm super excited to continue on with this piece and try to make it better.
Me too. We'll see where it goes. I feel like at some point I'm just going to have to be brave and cut off from the sketching phase and jump into what comes after sketching, Ben? I don't know. We never...
The brave phase.
The brave phase? Is that what it is? Oh, it feels very brave.
We've never done anything past sketching, Abigail.
I feel like I'm just going to have to say, like, whatever my forms are, that's what they are.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
And if they look bad in the end, it's because I'm learning.
It's because I'm learning. Duh. Of course.
Duh.
Yeah.
I always get to hide under that banner of like, I'm learning.
I'm going to be hiding under that banner for
years to come.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of my artistic career, probably. Oh, my sculpt's bad.
I'm learning.
I'm just learning, guys. Come on. Can you really say it's that bad? I'm learning.
Just a student.
Can't we just
of life?
Can't we just learn a little together? Come on. Oh, I'm the teacher.
Oh gosh.
Well, I'm pretty good with mine, I think, in terms of just, starting off here. I'm excited to continue. So, do you feel like you're at a good spot to call it quits and move on?
Yeah, let's wrap up here, and let's take a look. Let's in the last couple minutes, let's take a look at each other's.
Oh yeah.
And maybe you could give me some feedback, and I won't give you any feedback. I'll just take a look.
Why wouldn't you give me feedback?
I'm sure it's perfect.
Oh God, mine's horrible. Are you looking at mine and how horrible it is? It's gonna be a while before anything good happens here for me. But I will happily look at yours. And
yes, specifically, I'm looking for anything that jumps out as that I could make closer to looking like the girl in the original image. But here, take a look.
All right, I will take a gander. Let's see what we can do. I would say move those eyes a little closer together.
Closer together?
Just
okay.
a little closer together, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I would say the shape of her head here gets it tapers up into this wide form where it's more, parallel, kind of curls and wraps around a little bit. But overall, I think the proportions are pretty good, that maybe the jaw or the chin could be a little more flat at the bottom. It's like a little more wide there. She definitely has a very strong jawline. Yeah, there's, you got a ways to go, but I have a longer ways to go. You've done the smart decision there of starting with just some simple lines. Here's my tragedy.
Let's see here. It's not a tragedy.
Well, it is right now, but, in 2 more sessions, it might not be.
All
Fingers
right,
crossed.
so let's take a look here.
Ooh, yeah.
No. I'm trying to think.
If you blur your eyes really hard, really, really, really hard.
I think you tend to come across to start really strong on the outlining of your eyes, and I'm wondering if you made that a lot more gentle right off the bat, if you might not like that more initially.
Well, I don't care what it looks like initially, but when you make eyes and you make a mouth, like right now the mouth looks silly, right? The eyes look silly, right? So one thing that's really hard with a lot of people with art, with faces, is that you get distracted by your eyes and your mouth specifically because they are very expressive parts of your face, and they can start to lend character to your face if you're, working on them early. But I'm just trying to get some measurements down. So I don't care if it looks silly right now, but in terms of the general shape of the eyes, it still needs.
I see what you're saying.
It still needs some work. It still needs some work.
But no, it's looking good.
But if you think if I went softer with the eyes,
I like, but that's just me. I can't actually speak for that because my eyes are pretty hard outlined in this reference as well. I tend to start with my eyes a lot smaller, but of course you're going for your goal is to achieve a different style with much larger eyes. So you're probably on the right track there. The reference's lips are much larger in proportion to her nose.
Ooh, good call.
So her nose, you've got a kind of a longer nose. It's coming way farther down on her face.
I do need to shift that up.
Her face.
Excellent call. Excellent call.
Looks like her nose is about even with the break at that angle.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent verbiage.
Whereas your nose here
much lower.
Well, much lower,
much,
yes, than the
much
break.
lower, yes.
The break way up here.
I see it, yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I'd be curious to see what that looked like with that shift.
That will help quite a lot. Excellent.
Yes.
Well, we will make these changes in our next session.
Tune in.
Thanks for watching, everybody. You can join us by sharing your
portraits
online using the hashtag
Drawbli
and click the subscribe button to be notified of future videos. And this is the part where we say goodbye.
Ooh, I'm so excited to continue on.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for the feedback. That's very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. That was also very helpful. Eyes closer together, jaw flatter, bring in the head. Got it.